Well, she was only 3 years old when she says she learned to communicate with the dead. Not only is our first guest a spiritual medium who can read minds and get in touch with those in the afterlife, but Sandy Armstrong says she can also communicate even with our pets. You can catch Sandy this weekend at an upcoming event in the South Valley, but she did stop by our KC24 studios this morning to give me a reading before the big show this morning. So hi, Sandy, how are you? We meet again. We meet again. You know, first of all, in the tease I said a psychic, but it's not a psychic, is it? It's a medium. What's the difference?
Well, a psychic cannot speak to people that have passed on or crossed over. Only mediums can. Okay. But if someone comes up to you and says, I'm a medium, then they can do everything. They can communicate with pets, they can channel, they can be an empath, and it automatically makes them a psychic. Okay, so, got it. Yeah.
So you call yourself an empath medium, is that right?
Yes.
So that, does that encompass everything then?
No, an empath means that, like when I gave you your reading about this morning about your knee, it's because I felt your pain of your knee on my knee. So that's like feeling your emotions or feeling your sickness. Whether you're, you know, living or you're passed over, I can feel it on my body, and it's just a way that they communicate to me on what was going on with them.
I didn't know what to expect, but a lot of it was spot on. I just can't even believe it. I mean, my knee, yes, I do run. I try to run a lot, and my knee always bothers me. So when you said that, I was just kind of taken aback, because how would you know that I'm a runner? You know what I mean? How would you know? Okay, you say you were only 3, and we're going to get to that a little more of that a little later. But you said you were only 3 when you learned how to you noticed that you had this ability.
Right, right.
Can you kind of describe to us what that was like? I mean, most 3-year-olds are barely speaking sometimes. How did you know?
Well, I think it even went even before I was 3. I'd say 2, 2.5 is when I started seeing things floating around. Or
what kind of things?
You know, ghosts, loved ones, people. You know how I'm just looking for a reflection. You know how you look on a mirror or not a mirror, but a window, and you can see your reflection of yourself, and you can make out the colors and the shapes, but you can't see it clearly. That's how I see dead people, and that's how I started seeing people. And I knew that something was different about them or different about me, but I didn't understand or know how to communicate it at that time. But it's always been very normal for me to talk to the dead. Even though I thought everybody could do it. And when I realized that not everybody could do it, that's when I felt like a freak, and I went back into the closet and kept my mouth shut about it. Because you can't just go up to people, hey, I see dead people. You know,
were these people that were familiar to you, or just?
No, they were just random people. Even to this day in my own home, I have random people in my house. I don't know who they are. I just leave them alone. You know, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, do my dishes, I don't care. But I let them explore. You know, I know for a fact when I die, I'm probably going to go into people's houses, mansions, and snoop around and look, and you know, that's what they do. They're just curious. Or they could have died there, or they could be in a burial ground, or whatnot.
Now, are they communicating with you? Are they talking to you? Okay, so what kind of things do they say? Or just does it depend what living person you're with?
It depends on the living person that comes through. Like, say I'm doing a show, radio, or a client's coming in. Their loved ones will sometimes come into my home a week or 2 or hours before. I had this one lady and a grandmother came into my house, and they started picking everything up and complaining on how I decorated my home. And I was brushing my hair and doing all that stuff, and I finally said to them, and they were, you know, deceased, and I said, you know what, you need to get out of my house, because this is how I decorate, and blah, blah, blah. But they were waiting for me to go do a radio show, but they come and visit.
Now, when we did our reading together, you kind of communicated a little bit about my grandmother.
Right.
Okay. So I miss my grandmother tremendously. She died so many years ago, but she did give me a couple of recommendations, didn't she?
Yes.
You can tell people what she said.
Okay. Well, one thing she did say, that you need to get back into your religion. You've taken a step back, and that's one thing that was upsetting to her. Because as you know, you grew up in a very Catholic or very Christian home, and you've taken a step back. Even though it's not that you don't believe anymore, you just have other priorities or other things on your mind, where it's not like, I don't have time for church, I don't have time for this. So with her, it's kind of like, you need to get back there.
Yeah.
So that was her biggest message.
And what
to
do you see now? I mean, I told you that you could do a reading for me here live on the air, and you were okay with that, and I was okay with that because I'm always very open to the viewers. And so, what are you seeing right now?
Well, like I said, you need to start listening to your soul.
Okay.
Because your soul is like, for example, the Tasmanian devil. It's all over the place. It's kind of like, I need to do this, I need to do that, and I need to, I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do, because it's screaming for you to take a pause. So that's one thing, because if you don't, I always tell people, if your hand's in the cookie jar, eventually something's going to happen. I don't know if I should have used cookie jar, but you need to slow down.
And I'm sure a lot of people that know me can vouch for what you just said, because I am all over the place at all times.
And it has nothing to do with the caffeine intake or anything else. It's just that, like I had said, about you want to be successful, and you want to be successful for the right reasons, because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, like I said, the analogy of the alcoholic, if you're trying to get sober for a spouse or a friend or your children, then you're going to fall because you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
So you're going to be this weekend in the South Valley. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I know a lot of people are curious. And what kind of people come see you, first of all?
I get all kinds. I get, housewives. I get anyone who's over 18, first of all. But I get all types of people that come.
Anyone who wants to communicate with past loved ones.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a pretty amazing reading that you do for people. It's an hour long. Okay. We were only able to do 20 minutes, and I tell you what, it was very enlightening and eye-opening and spot on, I got to tell you. And so there are also a lot of things in my future that you told me.
Yes, it's going to keep going up in all aspects, financially, everything, so you don't really have anything to worry about there.
Do you ever tell people something bad that might happen? Do you see that happening ever? Or like do you see if people can die? Or are going to die? I know we're all going to die, but do you see that? And do you tell them if you do?
Well, mediums cannot predict death. We're not supposed to know everything, because if we were, we'd be God, and obviously none of us are God. So we're not meant to know everything, but there are times when I will get a feeling about somebody. I just did a reading not too long ago, and I did tell the person that somebody's getting ready to pass. And that in that situation, it was okay, because that person's soul said, I want them to know. And then I found out that they were taken off life support. And it's okay. There's other times when another person I know that was going around celebrating, pregnancy, and I had said, you might want to keep this to yourself, because I already felt it. And they knew what I did. I didn't come out and say, whatever, but I wanted to protect them and stuff. But I've learned over time that's something I can't do, and I don't know all the answers anyhow.
Wow, it's pretty amazing, the ability that you have. Sandy Armstrong, the spiritual medium. You'll be at the Crystal Barn, May 18th through the 20th. You're going to have long days there, I have a feeling.
Yes, I am. I'm going to be very tired.
Yes. How much do you charge for an hour? Can I ask you that, just in case people want to?
If it's not through an event such as this, I do $65 an hour or $67 over the phone. Okay. And that's what I charge.
All right. All right. Well, call, because I imagine you are going to be making
I'm already booked.
You're already booked for both days?
I'm booked all 3 days.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well.
I do think there's a couple openings on Saturday for the gallery, but I know I'm booked. I'm booked tonight, and I'm booked Sunday.
So call 732-8537, the Crystal Barn, and you can also go to closureandacceptance.com if you want to find out more about Sandy, and if you want to call for a future reading, maybe not this weekend, but for future readings, call 1-818-297-7628, or go to the website there. Sandy Armstrong, I know you have some books that are coming out. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but will you come back?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'd love to.
Well, it was quite an experience, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. There's more Central Valley Today coming up straight ahead.